Stormground is an arena-based, turn-based, hex-based strategy game.
High fantasy and massive magic and crazy gods and all this awesome stuff.
And this is something that I don't think anyone's ever really seen before in a game.
When we were putting together the team for Stormground, the most important thing for us was finding people who were passionate about delivering this universe really well.
Warhammer's always been this interesting thing to me because it's something the fans of collect. They then contribute to, they paint them, they bring them to life, they put them to field. Some people play games with them, some people just collect them. They spin their own lore around it and they go to the lore, and it's super exciting because I've never gotten to work with an IP or brand like that before.
They're all unique and they're all different. You've got your Stormcast, who are these cool knights, and you got these ghosts who are like creepy bits of rag, with bits of armor on them, floating around, doing their thing.
Even though in our game the units might be this big, if you zoom in, those details are there. And we did that because we know that the audience is really attached to that level of fidelity and that level of realization. And we, as fans of this IP, we want to be able to do that too, so that you know that that is the most accurate rendering of that unit that we could have possibly done.
So while the combat and the factions were fine, the context for them felt like we couldn't quite marry the epic to the micro. But seeing these encased battles, that was the piece it's like, oh, that's how we structure. We practically group hugged. It was really an excited moment.
We kind of realized, wait a minute, this is the Age of Sigmar. It's unbelievably high fantasy. We all of a sudden realized, we can have a tree the size of a mountain. And what would it look like if we were actually having a battle on a branch that was like the size of a mountain, and an entire city was built on the end of that branch?
So rather than presenting, here's this big scrawling map and here's some, spots on it, and say, no, it's a fortress, and you're outside and you're pushing in and you're trying to ascend to the big tower at the end so that you can take down the big baddie.
One of the first units that we wanted to try and bring to life in the most genuine way that we could was the Lord Celestin riding the Star Drake. This was super exciting for me because it's the first time I've ever really gotten a chance to bring a dragon to life in a game. You feel the ground rumble. It's like swooping over, breathing fire, blowing the crap out of these hexes.
If you're new to the Warhammer universe, you're going to find a bunch of mechanics from other games that are really familiar to you. If you're familiar with Civilization's hex movement rules, you're going to see that there. And if you're familiar with how the draws work in card games for placing your units and how we spend our resources, that'll seem familiar to you. Part of our goals with this product is to take players who are interested in strategy games into the Warhammer universe and show them how beautiful it is. There's so much great lore and great characters to play with in that.
Stormground is really exciting because it's the first time that we've brought the level of fidelity to the graphics and the presentation, the amount of detail, the kinds of units that we're putting on the screen, or even explored the universe that we're in, and like the kind of settings and places that we're going to.
We want to create a game where people can jump in, can play, feel like every little moment counts towards this huge narrative around it.
Everything is completely over the top.